name's Alex Davey. I'm the community pastor at Stopsey Baptist Church, and welcome to Stopsey Baptist Church's Tuesday community broadcast. I want to start by asking you a question. Do you ever get angry? Do you ever get grumpy? I think during lockdown, where we have had to live in such close proximity, I think many of us have become more aware of our own internal grumpiness. How does that look to you? What kind of grumpy are you? Maybe that's a question you could ask the people that you've been living with all these months. Maybe they could give you a little insight. But I've realised that for me, there are a couple of things that I do. And one of them is I tend to withdraw. Unless, of course, it's something, sometimes I explode and I've got to, try not to do that often. But actually, more often, I withdraw. And one of the things I've noticed that I do is I stop looking at the person I'm grumpy with. It's like I'm trying not to notice they're there. Actually, the other thing which I do is I stop seeing how wonderful they are. And instead, I almost devalue them. I turn them into an object rather of my frustration, rather than seeing how unique and how wonderful they are. So what about for you? What does your grumpy look like? Well, in the same way that I think grumpy has an expression, it has an action to it. Actually, so does love, doesn't it? What kind of a love are you? How do you love? Well, one of the things that we as Christians believe is that God demonstrated his love by coming to earth and living as a human being and dying, but also coming back from the dead. And he showed how wonderful we are by that resurrection, by coming back from the dead and showing that he has the victory over all that makes a dead thing dead and brings things back to life. And in this video clip that I want to share with you, a spoken word artist called Phil Knox speaks about this, and it's called Author. And it brings together this idea that love, and this is one of the quotes from here, love is just words till action prevails. And it's about how the author of all of this that we have around us makes himself known to us. And linking back to my grumpiness thing earlier, I realized that when I stop looking at people, it's because I don't want to see their divinity. I don't want to see their value. And so by not looking, I can ignore that. And so the challenge for me this week, this month, is to make sure I look at people. Whenever listen to Phil Knox, he puts it in a way that is memorable, that is lyrical, in a way that I couldn't. Bless you. At the end of this will be details of Stopsey Baptist Church's other broadcasts, but I hope you enjoy this. So this is Phil Knox and spoken word called Author.
In the beginning was the author, the answer to the question not yet posed, solution to a mystery not yet disclosed, liberator to a regime not yet imposed. And there in the background as the story unfolds, holding his run from times of old, waiting as priests, poets and prophets foretold of the author of all love and life and all that is good. And then bang, in a moment that is cosmically linkable, the author becomes unthinkably shrinkable. Veiled in flesh, the Godhead see, hail the incarnate deity. Because the author comes down to meet us, the king of the world becomes a fetus. And from Judean hills the story was broadcast, and some logged on, hooked up, tuned in. And to those who did with a wireless connection, the author promised life and resurrection. Weaving tales, leaving trails, breaking jails, removing scales from people's eyes opened to a kingdom where humanity hails the author. But then impaled. You see, love is just words until action prevails, and this point is proven by blood drawn by nails, and squaring up sin and death, the author wails, "It is finished." But that's just the finale of season 6, because in season 7's a box full of tricks. The author smashes death in the face with a spade, because hell cannot hold his loving tirade. And for 2,000 years, the story continues get yourself plugged in like there's nothing to lose. So reach for your settings and turn your Li-Fi on, because the author is still speaking, his heart is still beating, and the story is love, and with it he frees us, because the author has a name, and his name is Jesus.